Present Al Franken.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I was sitting on the dais, and a Secret Serviceman walked up with this note from the Hay Adams. It says, "Al, don't be nervous. There's nobody important here. Dick Cavett." So, Dick Cavett's here, so someone, let me get this thing out of here. Anyway, it's a tremendous honor to be short. By the way, I thought the president was very funny. Didn't you? I mean, you're no Dick Lugar, but... Now, the last time I was in this room, actually, this is an honor to be asked back again, but the last time I was in this room actually was a little over a month ago for the radio and TV Correspondents dinner. And actually, during the evening, I came up with the title to my next book, Don Imus is a Big Putz. Okay, quick. My impression of Don Imus at the 1944 Radio Correspondents Dinner. Don Imus at the 1944 Radio Correspondents Dinner. For those of you listening on radio, the president is a cripple. You know, I guess what Imus was trying to do was sort of demonstrate his shock jock bona fides by showing that he was willing to walk, you know, speak in front of 3,000 people and offend, you know, pretty much everyone. That is not my goal tonight. Let me let you in on my goal. If at the end of this evening, the Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, walks out of this hotel thinking, you know, that Al Franken is a pretty funny guy, then I know I will have failed miserably. And let a lot of people down. If, on the other hand, the president leaves thinking, you know, Al would make a pretty good consul general to Bermuda. Mission accomplished. But the Correspondents Association was afraid of a repeat of the whole Imus debacle, so the Board of Governors had a meeting and drew up some ground rules for tonight's talk. For example, there are a number of subjects I've been instructed to avoid. Whitewater, specifically Webb Hubble, Susan Thomas's, either of the McDougalls. I am not to do jokes about any aspect of the president's personal life except his eating habits. Evidently, sir, you eat a lot. And the Correspondents Association seems to think that we could have quite a bit of harmless fun with that. Other subjects to avoid: Newt Gingrich's first wife, Bob Dole's first wife, Phil Graham's first wife, Dick Armey's first wife, Rush Limbaugh's first wife. Well, Rush Limbaugh's second wife, Rush Limbaugh's third wife. Now, here's a real odd one, and it's really kind of, I don't know. I can do jokes about abortion, but only first trimester abortions. Isn't that odd? Okay, now this one's almost insulting. I must remain fully clothed. For example, I cannot moon the First Lady. Carl, what do you think I am, a shock jock? So, Carl, you can rest assured that I'm not going to do any jokes tonight that could make the president or the First Lady even remotely uncomfortable. And if you believe that, I've got some land in Arkansas I'd like to sell you. But I can sympathize somewhat with Imus, because when you do a speech like this, it's really, you have to risk offending someone. When I did this dinner 2 years ago, I did a joke that actually is still quite timely. The joke was this. Having Al D'Amato lead an ethics investigation is a little like having Bob Dornan head up a mental health task force. Not a bad joke. So this is a true story. 3 days later, I was in Hollywood, I was in someone's office, and this person's assistant walks in and says, Al, Congressman Bob Dornan is on the phone for you. I said, okay. Oh, Congressman. Al, I heard you did me in at the White House Correspondents' dinner. So, well, Congressman, I told a joke. Well, what was the joke? Okay, the joke was having Al D'Amato lead an ethics investigation is a little like having Bob Dornan head up a mental health task force. And there was a pause, and then, hell, that's okay. So now I like Bob Dornan. He's a crazy homophobe, but he can take a joke. That's Now, speaking of Al D'Amato, I'm pretty well known for my Al D'Amato impression. You want to hear it?
We are simply attempting to ascertain the veracity of the First Lady vis-a-vis and in regard to the discrepancies and inconsistencies, which I am told mean the same thing. Insofar as they relate to the documentation contained in the documents and the information therein vis-a-vis and in regard to, does anyone remember how I started this sentence?
Thank you, Al D'Amato. No. Let's keep going. This year actually has been a very exciting one for me, because for a while this winter I was actually a member of the press corps. I briefly covered the campaign for Newsweek. I remember one night in Manchester, New Hampshire, I attended a Dole event. It was a VFW spaghetti dinner, and it was a very special night for Senator Dole, because there were actually a few people there who were older than him. And it turned out to be a real morale booster. So the next day I went to the Milford Rotary Club to see Steve Forbes, who's here tonight out there. By the way, Mr. Forbes, my book did so well that I'm now for the flat tax. No, I really believe having my royalties taxed at 17 instead of 39.6% will unleash my creative energies. Anyway, it was this cold day in Milford, and there were about 100 of us out there in the press corps, freezing, locked out of the Rotary Club, because according to the Forbes press guy, we had scared the Rotarians. So we're standing out there for 2 hours, and this Dutch crew decides to interview me. This is how little was happening. So this Dutch correspondent says to me, "Which of the Republicans do you like the most?" And I said, "Well, I guess of the Republicans, I like Bob Dole the most." He said, "Oh, but he is so old." I said, "Well, he wasn't too old to save your sorry Dutch ass." I said, now, how long exactly did it take the Nazis to roll over Holland? Was that like an hour?